You were never meant to be the wife of John Jungkook in the way that truly mattered. Your wedding was orchestrated by business, negotiations, a deal sealed between two powerful families to maintain alliances. Jungkook, the cold and unreadable CEO, had barely looked at you during the ceremony, and you had not expected much from him either. After all, love had no place in an arrangement like this. At first, the marriage was distant yet respectful. You both lived under the same roof but remained in separate rooms. Conversations were brief and formal, touching only on necessary topics. He never pried into your life, and you did not step into his. It was comfortable in its own way, predictable, safe. But something changed. There were glances held a second too long, accidental touches that sent shivers down your spine, nights when silence felt heavier, filled with unsaid words, moments that made you wonder, could there be more? Was there a chance this contract would turn into something else? Jungkook, however, remained distant. You didn't know that he was battling his own emotions, struggling to keep the line between business and something far more dangerous, his growing feelings for you. And then, just as the warmth between you started to feel real, someone decided to destroy it. The cool evening breeze caressed your skin as you stood on the balcony, gazing at the vast forest surrounding the mansion. The sky had melted into deep shades of blue, the first stars twinkling above. It was quiet, the kind of quiet that allowed your thoughts to wander too far. You exhaled softly, arms wrapped around yourself. So much had changed in the past few months. This house, this marriage, this life. It was all so unfamiliar, yet you had somehow settled into it. The silence wasn't suffocating anymore. It was just there. You always come here when you are lost in thoughts. His voice was deep, smooth, and unmistakably familiar. You turned slightly, finding Jungkook standing in the entrance of the balcony, his hands casually tucked into the pockets of his suit pants. His tie was loosened, the first two buttons of his shirt undone, as if he had been in a hurry to relax the moment he stepped inside. "You are back early," you said. Your tone was softer than you expected. He hummed in response and stepped forward until he was standing beside you, looking out at the same view. His presence was strong, commanding even in silence. But tonight it wasn't intimidating, it was comforting. "I didn't find you inside," he admitted. His gaze was still fixed on the trees in the distance. "But I knew you would be here." You smiled faintly, turning your eyes back to the horizon. "I like it here. It's peaceful." Jungkook nodded as if he understood, and maybe he did. A quiet moment stretched between you both. He cleared his throat, his voice taking on a more professional tone. "There's a new proposal from the finance team. They suggested a revised investment strategy for next quarter. I'll have them send you the details tomorrow." You glanced at him, raising an eyebrow. "You really came all the way here to discuss work?" His lips twitched, almost as if he wanted to smile but stopped himself. "Just making conversation." You let out a soft chuckle, shaking your head. He wasn't fooling you. This wasn't about work. He had been looking for you. He wanted to see you. He just didn't know how to say it. "Then let's talk," you offered, shifting slightly so you were facing him. "Not about work." Jungkook hesitated as if unsure of what to say next, but then he leaned against the balcony railing, mirroring your stance. "All right, tell me about your day." And just like that, the conversation flowed. It was simple, it was mature, it was comforting. Neither of you spoke about what was truly on your minds, but for now, this was enough. The idea of planning a surprise for Jungkook had been on your mind for a while. He never truly celebrated his birthday, treating it like any other day. But you wanted to change that. Even if this marriage had an expiration date, you wanted to make the time you had together meaningful. And who knew? Maybe, just maybe, it wouldn't end at all. Which is why you found yourself at a cozy little cafe with a stunning ocean view. seated across from Mark, Jungkook's manager and a good friend of yours. He was one of the few people who made you feel at ease in the entire situation. So, you want to throw a surprise party for Jungkook? Mark asked, stirring his coffee. You nodded slowly, setting your cup on the table. Yeah, I know he doesn't like grand celebrations, so I was thinking of keeping it small. Just a nice dinner at home with a few decorations, nothing over the top. Mark smirked. You know him well, he's not one for surprises. You sighed. I know, but I just want to do something for him, something that makes him feel special, even if he won't admit he wants it. Mark leaned back, crossing his arms. You're going soft on him. You scoffed, rolling your eyes. I just think it's a nice thing to do. Mark chuckled. All right, I'll help. What do you need? As you both started discussing, completely unaware of a pair of sharp eyes observing you from across the cafe, Hana. Hana had been in Jungkook's life for years, a close friend, or so she claimed to be, but anyone with eyes could see the way she looked at him. She wanted him and she wasn't shy about it. What infuriated her the most was that Jungkook never looked at her the way he looked at you, even if neither of you realized it yet. As she sipped her coffee, her mind worked fast. The way you leaned in to talk to Mark, the way he smiled at you, if she captured this from the right angles, it could tell a completely different story. One that would push Jungkook right into her waiting arms. With a smirk, she pulled out her phone and discreetly snapped a few pictures. It was only a matter of time before she planted the seeds of doubt in Jungkook's mind. And when she did, she would finally get what she wanted. Hana wasted no time. She found Jungkook in his office, her expression twisted into something close to concern. Jungkook, I need to tell you something, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Jungkook barely glanced up. If it's not work-related, Hana, I don't have time. She sighed dramatically, sliding her phone across the table. Then you might want to make time for this. His eyes landed on the screen and his entire body went rigid. There you were with Mark, laughing, standing too close, looking comfortable. The pictures told a story he wasn't prepared to hear. They were taken from angles that meant to plant the exact doubts. She smiled, noticing the tension on Jungkook's face. She's been playing you, Jungkook. Hana's voice was quieter now, almost sympathetic. Think about it. This marriage is just a contract, right? And when it ends, what happens? She goes back to him, back to the man she's always wanted to be with. I mean, look at them. Do they look like they are just friends? Jungkook's grip on the phone tightened. He had been thinking of forever, of telling you how he felt, of making this marriage real, but now it felt like a cruel joke. I didn't want to be the one to tell you this, Hana continued, leaning in slightly, but I couldn't stand seeing you get hurt. You deserve better, someone who actually wants to be with you. Jungkook exhaled sharply, his knuckles turning white. He didn't want to believe it. He didn't, but the images were burned into his mind, feeding the doubt that Hana had so carefully planted. Are you okay? Hana asked gently. He didn't say anything, just pushed her phone back to her. She smirked as her job was done. Jungkook had never felt this broken before. He had known loss, betrayal, and disappointment, but nothing compared to the weight crushing his chest now. His entire body felt numb as he drove home, his grip tight around the steering wheel, his mind replaying Hana's words over and over again. The pictures, the lies, the supposed truth. His heart screamed at him to deny it, but the doubt had already begun to spread like poison in his veins. The way you smiled at Mark in those pictures, the way you leaned in close to him, he couldn't unsee it. He couldn't unknow it. When he finally reached the mansion, he barely registered the cool night air as he stepped out of his car. His head hung low, the exhaustion of the day weighing on him, but as he approached the front door, something unusual caught his eye. Petals, soft, delicate rose petals scattered all over the doorstep leading inside. He frowned, his heart clenching painfully. What was this? Slowly he bent down and picked up a small note nestled between the petals. The familiar curve of your handwriting sent an ache through his chest. Follow the petals. His breath hitched as he pushed open the door. The house was dimly lit, warm and inviting. The trail of petals continued, leading him towards the backyard. His legs moved on their own as if some foolish part of him still wanted to believe in you. Stepping outside, he froze. The backyard was transformed. Fairy lights twinkled in the trees, candles flickered gently along the pathway, and a table was set beautifully in the center. A cake sat on it, decorated with intricate details. And then a soft voice, gentle, warm, filled with a happiness he could no longer comprehend. Happy birthday, Jungkook. His breath caught in his throat. He turned around slowly, and there you were, standing in the soft glow of the lights, holding a cake in your hands, smiling at him with a warmth that made his stomach twist painfully. You looked more beautiful than ever. It was clear that you had dressed up for him. Your hair was styled perfectly. Your dress complemented you so well that for a moment he wanted to forget everything and just pull you into his arms. But then Hannah's words came crashing down on him again. She's just keeping up appearances. As soon as the contract ends, she'll leave. She's already moving on. The pictures, the supposed truth. His heart shattered all over again. You stepped closer, completely unaware of the storm raging inside him. You're home. You said softly, your eyes twinkling with excitement. I was waiting. Do you like it? Your voice was so hopeful, so full of sincerity that it made his jaw clench. His throat felt dry, tight, suffocating. Why did you do this? His voice was lower than usual, distant, unfamiliar even to himself. You blinked at him, caught off guard, but then you smiled again, shaking your head slightly. Because it's your birthday, Jungkook, I wanted to make it special for you. His chest ached. He wanted to believe you. He wanted to ignore every voice in his head telling him that this was all a lie. I don't celebrate my birthday, he said coldly. He frowned at his words but quickly recovered, your smile turning softer. I know, you admitted, looking up at him with eyes full of something he didn't deserve. I wanted to change that, even if it's just for a memory, for the time we are still together. Still together, the words echoed in his mind like a cruel reminder. Temporary. That's what you are, temporary. And he had been stupid enough to dream of something more. His gaze hardened, his body stiff as he took a step back. The warmth he felt seeing you just moments ago was now drowned in cold resentment, fueled by the betrayal planted in his mind. His next words came out sharper than he intended, but he didn't stop them. Yes, you are just a contract wife, Ian, he said, voice devoid of warmth, so don't try to cross your limits. The smile on your face vanished instantly, your breath hitched, and the candlelight reflected the shock in your eyes. The cake in your hands trembled slightly, but you held onto it as if trying to steady yourself. Jungkook felt his own heart crack at the way you looked at him, like he had just shattered something fragile, something precious, but he didn't stay to see the damage he had done. Without another word, he turned on his heels and walked away, leaving you standing there, frozen and broken. The night that was supposed to be a celebration had instead turned into something irreversible. But you refused to let him walk away like this. After everything, after all the effort and hope you had poured into this night, He couldn't just dismiss it. Jaw clenched, you strode after him, grabbing his wrist before he could disappear into the house. He stiffened under your touch, clearly not expecting you to stop him. When he turned, his eyes widened at the sight of you. Your face was nothing like the gentle woman he had seen moments ago. Instead, he met with fiery anger, a look he had never witnessed from you before. What do you think you are, huh? Your voice was sharp, cutting through the silence. Do you think you can just say whatever you want and walk away? That I'll just stand here and take it? Jungkook said nothing, but his gaze darkened. He was surprised to witness the side of you. His silence only fueled your frustration. I spent weeks planning this, Jungkook. I did all of this for you. I don't care if you don't celebrate your birthday. I wanted to do something for you. Because I care. Because I thought. Your voice wavered for a split second before you swallowed the lump in your throat. Does that mean nothing to you? Do you not respect someone's efforts, their thoughts, their feelings? Jungkook let out a hollow chuckle, shaking his head as he ran a hand through his hair. His expression was unreadable, but the bitterness in his voice was sharp enough to cut through you. What feelings? He said, his voice low but laced with pain. What would I get from collecting these memories, huh? He took a step closer, eyes dark and stormy. Lifetime of heartbreak, a reality check that I can never have you. You frowned, confusion washing over your anger. What are you talking about? For the first time you saw it, the sheen of unshed tears in his eyes, the way his throat bobbed as he swallowed hard as if forcing himself to keep standing. Don't give me hopes of forever. Don't give me memories to keep when you won't be here forever. His gaze searched yours, desperate yet defeated. Let it be the way it is. Your heart pounded against your ribs as if something inside you was cracking. What the hell are you talking about? What happened to you? Jungkook let out a shaky breath, his jaw clenched tight, as if he was battling a war inside him. I don't know what happened to me, he admitted, voice barely above a whisper. How did I fall for you when this marriage was never meant to last? I almost forgot that one day you'll walk away. Your breath hitched, his words fell like a punch to your chest. Who told you that I'll walk away? You asked, stepping closer. He scoffed, looking away. Isn't that what this contract was about? His voice was bitter yet vulnerable. An agreement that ends when the time is up. That's what we signed up for, right? Your hands balled into fists at your sides. Jungkook, if I ever planned to walk away, do you think I would have given this marriage so much importance? Do you think I would have given you so much importance? Today was special. I planned everything because I wanted to talk to you, tell you my feelings. But this is how you reacted. Jungkook's gaze snapped back to yours, his expression breaking. His lips parted as if he wanted to say something but no words came. Then in the softest voice he whispered, because I'm scared. Your heart clenched. I'm scared, Ryan. Scared that if I let myself believe this could be real, if I let myself dream of forever, I would lose you. I'm scared that I wouldn't be able to live without you. His voice was raw, filled with agony. His hands trembled slightly at his sides. Tears welled in your eyes, but you refused to let them fall. Instead, you lifted your hand, gently cupping his cheek, making him look at you. Then who told you? You whispered. Who told you to live without me? Jungkook inhaled shakily, his eyes searching yours, desperately trying to find the truth in your words. Do you? He murmured, almost afraid to ask. Do you want to stay? A soft smile tugged at your lips, and with every ounce of love in your heart, you whispered the voice that had been aching to come out. Yes, Jungkook, I love you, and that's what I wanted to tell you tonight. Jungkook's eyes widened slightly as if he was afraid he had imagined your words. His lips parted, his hands hesitantly reaching for you, but he still seemed lost in disbelief. You love me? He asked, voice unsteady. You nodded, a tear slipping down your cheek. I do. Something inside him shattered and mended all at once. Without another word, Jungkook closed the distance between you, crashing his lips onto yours. The kiss was desperate, filled with every unsaid words, every suppressed emotion, every bit of longing that had built between you two. Your hands clutched his shirt, pulling him closer, while his arms wrapped tightly around your waist as if he never wanted to let go. When he finally pulled away, he rested his forehead against yours, breathing heavily. I love you too, I think I always have. A small laugh escaped you, a mix of relief and joy, then stop being so stupid and believe it. Jungkook chuckled softly, pulling you in for another kiss, this time slower, deeper. As the night wrapped around you, the weight of misunderstandings faded, leaving only the warmth of each other's love.